Good to go? Okay, I'll call this meeting to order, second meeting for June. First order of business will be pledge of allegiance. I'd like everybody to join me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda review. We're going to have the addition to ask conversion in regards to the courier advertising. And then, oh, that's what I'm reading, the old one, okay. I thought that looked familiar. Agenda review, does anybody on the board have anything they wanted to add to the agenda?
We just got one thing at the end, and I just wanted to add the discussion for a joint meeting with the trustees
Okay,
regarding long-term planning
okay,
for the ball fields. A proposed meeting.
okay. The only thing I was gonna add, just to make sure we need to discuss this, is that had to do with the library. Where is the library update? Thought we had that.
That's
C under 5.
Old Town Business.
HVAC installation.
Oh, okay, just want to discuss the possible, we need to do something about the other repairs and maybe a possible request for proposals.
Yeah.
Because it is getting the end of June. So we need to try to address that ice issue, which everybody is aware of. Okay? And that's all I had. Did anybody else have nothing to go over?
Well, Swanton Rec's here to talk about upcoming event, but he can do that under public comment.
Okay. All right. If that's it, then we will move on to public comments. For all the comments that would be nothing that's on the agenda, so apparently you qualify.
Maybe do the minutes, or
Minutes.
we'll do the minutes from
Minutes.
Oh,
last
a
meeting.
minute. Does anybody want to make a motion, or?
I move.
I'll second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Does anybody have any corrections or comments? If not, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. All right, now we'll get back.
Thanks for having me. I'm Nick Michaud, Athletic Director, Office Facility Manager at Swanton Rec Commission. I'm here tonight because we've been planning a great community event since, I want to say, December. And we're titling it Corn Fest over at Swanton Rec. So what this is really, it's an afternoon/evening event for Swanton and neighbors about in Franklin County and even further than that to come up to Swanton and to hang out with each other and enjoy themselves as a free community event, like I said. And it's a good way for neighbors to be neighborly and mingle right before school's about to get back in session. This is set for August 12th. It's 2 to 8 p.m. We've had fantastic support from Handy Cars and Cooling Grain. We're calling it Corn Fest because we're trying to highlight the agricultural side of corn, the corn industry in our area. Most folks have dairy, Maple Fest, so we thought outside the box with this one and went corny, and so that's where we came up with Corn Fest. We will have corny games that will involve cobs of corn for folks to partake in, such as Shuck a Cob, Huck a Cob, and Bob for Cob. We've come up with those events all by ourselves, believe it or not. But we've had tremendous support from local vendors. We're bringing in Bouncy House for kids. We're bringing in Charming Events to do face paint. She's bringing a mascot. We will have our lawn games available for kids to play with, families to play with. We're trying to organize a touch-a-truck in our back lot throughout the event. On top of that, we've got a great list of vendors to serve food and drink. We have, if you come by the office, you'll see our campus is drawn on a whiteboard with my chicken scratch handwriting. If you come by, check it out. Please don't make fun of it, but we have kind of planned out the whole campus for the day. And so with the food and drink vendors, Nellie's has come to support this with their team. to serve alcoholic beverages, and I know I'm not sure if that's been done before, and that's why I'm here today, to see if we can try to pull that off for our community, to make it a really fun event. We have 5 food trucks locked and ready to go. We are also anticipating to have a cornhole event in the alcoholic side of the property for that evening, so it doesn't interfere with families. I've reached out to Chocolate Thunder, the security group out of Burlington, to see if they can have their staff come and support this with carding and IDing and giving out bracelets, so that when folks enter in the area that they are there and they've been checked. And then I've reached out to, I'm shopping around additional support with Franklin County Sheriffs and the Village Police Department, so that they can have a foot patrol presence throughout the day, so that nothing gets too out of hand. But we do have 5 checkpoints that we've identified on our campus that we need to take care of, so that folks don't go out in the street and try to come back in, or vice versa. So we're really being cautious and proactive with that. We have, with the cornhole tournament, that's pretty much the only event that we're offering folks to buy into, to register. $50 a team, $25 a person. The winners get a plaque and a cash prize. During that time, we'll have a band. I believe he'll be a junior next year at MVU. His name is Caden, and his bandmates with the North Hero Band. They're fantastic. If you haven't heard them, I'm sure he's out there on the internet, Facebook. He does a fantastic job of covering local, or popular songs of rock, 80s, 90s. And then we're gonna cap the evening with a headlining band, Mad Mojo, excuse me. Mad Mojo, Kevin and his group have agreed to come for the evening, to kind of cap off the event. And we'd like to see this happen, bring out neighbors and friends and family for a few hours to enjoy themselves, play some free games, have a bite to eat, and really end I think the summer on a high note. We're the week after Franklin County Field Days, so I know wallets are going to be strapped for cash. We're trying to help families that have kids and whoever come to this without any worry at all, just to enjoy themselves and their neighbors, to hopefully grow this event into an annual event. Knowing that it's year 1, there's going to be bumps and bruises, but we're willing to take feedback and criticism so that we can adjust and tweak as we go. Our back parking lot, we're estimating about 150 vehicles to park there. We will have volunteers parking cars correctly, so that all of our neighbors can park there. If we have an influx, we are going to move some of the boulders down on our lower soccer field so that we can fit cars there. So we anticipate that we could fit close to 225 vehicles. We're going to have our part-time employee Steve. He's willing to bring his side-by-side to help folks that don't want to walk up the little embankment in the back, to drive them up on top, and to essentially carpool folks to their vehicles to and from at the beginning and end of the event. So really, we're just looking for support from the trustees here in the town to see if we can pull this off for our community, and hopefully have a fun afternoon highlighting the corn industry in our area, really.
Do you have a rain date?
We don't. This is rain or shine.
Oh, okay.
The thing with the rain is that the bands might not be able to play, but we're totally fine with that. We're praying. We're hoping that Mother Nature helps us out with that.
Fantastic idea.
On top of that, we've reached out with the village. We've done certificates, a one-day event certificate with the village. I'm not sure what types of paperwork we would need from the town side, but willing to prepare those documents, get you folks the right things, so that we can make this happen.
I don't know, we need the village, actually that's village property.
That's right.
And they've given the okay.
So it is, the property is the village, but the town is responsible for the building, so it is our intention to have use of the building during that as well. So, it really is a community collective event, and that's why Nick is here representing Swanton Rec, to get everybody in support of it.
If it is a hot day, for our building's sake, we're gonna turn the office into like a cool down room. So we'll flip the AC on, shut doors, so if people are having a hard time with the heat, they can get in there and get out of it. We have the 2 bathrooms on the back end of the building. We are bringing in additional portalettes, but we would certainly need those bathrooms and utilize those for the event, to make it easier on folks. So that's a huge aspect of it, is having that building intertwined with the event, not just all out on the fields.
And what's the time that from when to when?
2 to 8 p.m.
From 2 to 8?
What do you need, what do we need to give you?
Yeah, I'm not sure either, I mean, I assume this would be, it's a town supported or activity, everything's automatically covered.
Yeah, we'll get a liability certificate for it. for the
That's
event.
what,
But we're gonna have to approve something for them to be able to have alcohol on site, right, Kathy?
We talked to this guy with the insurance company before, and as long as they have, which you do have a reputable person,
Yes.
company doing it, they'll have their insurance and they have their certified bartender.
Shannon
long-
from Nelly is
yeah.
totally.
As long as it's, and we know they've done events here before,
we don't have to
different
do
places, no,
All right,
no.
okay.
They do a good job too. They do Nellie's one of the ones that does the big, the Kingdom Fest. They close the whole street down and they have very minimal issues there.
So we've been working with the folks that organized Kingman
Yeah, they
Fest
do a really
to
good job.
this at Swanton.
I mean, that's nothing but alcohol there, and they do a really good job keeping it, under.
I see.
Should we make a motion that we endorse this activity? Would that be enough to keep it moving and naturally taking all the precautions to protect us? But I'd make a motion that we endorse this event. I think it's a great idea.
I second it.
I abstain.
Okay, so the motion's been made to support the effort to have this corn fest, been seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, motion carried.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. It's gonna be a great day, weather permitted. Regardless, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Think outside the box,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be corny and have a good time with it. So.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you.
Keep an eye out for signs. These will go up tomorrow.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
That'd be great to maybe put on the website, I believe.
The website.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna have to get that on there.
Yeah.
Christine says I'm on it.
Yeah, the board.
I can
and the
send
park.
you a digital.
Yeah, as we get closer to.
Yeah, that'd be really
You
good.
ready to go? You want me to pick you up?
We put lots of things on there.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Coming in.
Thank
Which
you.
reminds me to send you the community calendar.
Okay, now we can go to expenditures and we'll start with the general orders. Now, I assume everybody looked these over, because Kathy got them out real early.
Yep,
Record setter.
good job, Kathy.
Yep.
Unless anybody's got any questions, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the general orders for between 5/17/2023 to 6/20/2023 for it's 71 415.59.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion to approve the general order's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, that's not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. And we'll go on to the highway. Anybody got any questions, comments on that?
I'd make a motion that we approve the highway fund request, for the period 5/17/23 to 6/20/23 in the amount of $40,767.65.
Second.
All right, motion been made, and seconded to approve the highway orders. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Next orders will be the library, ARPA one. And that's where I just had that question. Now, that, for the trailhead, that's part of our match money, right?
That's part of the money that you've given approved for the work to be done.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what we have set aside for the match that we have to have for the whole grant, right? Some of that money is coming,
No, the more, right,
right, it's
right,
coming out of that fund.
exactly.
And how much did we ended up having to set aside? Do you know off the top of your head? I don't remember how much it was either. Was it 90,000?
It was 80, then it went to 90,
Yeah, 90.
90.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is that still in the ARPA, to keep it all together, or do you?
Yeah, it's, I've got it all on a spreadsheet where everything's going and where it is, and what we're using it for. Just in my reporting last, what, April? Our federal reporting, what we had to
Yeah,
do,
it was
April or May.
May, it was as of the end of April, but yeah,
Yeah.
the date in May.
And the other question I had is on the website design. Is that the bill and then half is coming back from the village too, or is
That's
that?
our half,
That's our half,
Our
okay.
half.
all right.
yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the ARPA orders in the amount of $6,806.36.
Second.
All right, motion has been made to approve the ARPA orders. Is there any more discussion? And seconded too, so. If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. And we'll go on to the library orders.
I make a motion to accept the library orders in the amount of $1,743.28.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the library orders. Is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Payroll, highway and general.
I'll make a motion to approve the highway and general payroll orders between 5/17/23, 6/20/23, and amount $41,176.96.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion been made and seconded to approve the highway and general fund payroll. Is there any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I said aye.
Them three did. So.
Well, I know, they were quicker than me.
All right, we're down to the library payroll.
Who's the head bookkeeper?
Abigail.
Abigail?
What'd you say?
The head bookkeeper.
Okay, I didn't hear that part. I was like, oh, I guess I should have answered to that title.
Head librarian.
Yeah, that's. I'll make a motion to approve the library payroll orders from 5/17/2023 to 6/20/2023, amount of $8,892.14.
Second.
All right, motion's been made to approve the library payroll. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, now we can move on to Swanton Animal Control. There was nothing that you sent over there.
Right, because there's nothing from Mr. Benson, however, we get a verbal report from the.
Yeah.
All right, Tony?
I got a couple things actually. So Mr. Benson's on vacation, so I'm the lucky guy who gets to get all the phone calls. I see what you guys did there when you're like, hey, you can do this, Cody. You know, well played.
You gotta start at the bottom and work your way up.
So I did respond to a call. I don't know if you want me to go into too much detail. Yeah. Okay. To 29 York Street, there was a, I guess there was somebody who called in and said that they saw a male dog with his nethers hanging down to the ground and all bloody. So, according to Vermont Statute 342, Section 4, if a dog is in distress or needs immediate medical care and the owner does not provide that, then, you know, that's a citable offense. So, also, since it potentially was an animal abuse case, I had Swanton Village respond with me just in case. Went in there, made contact with the residents, and it was not the case. It was actually a female dog that had a tumor hanging down, and there was no open wounds or anything. But that statute still applies to this situation because the dog still needs medical attention. I did reach out to the vet services that they said they went to, waiting for a response from them. They haven't done surgery yet because of the cost, I guess. While I was there, I did notice that they didn't have any tags on the collars or anything, so I did inquire about if the dogs were vaccinated and licensed. The owner of the dogs actually was out of town. It was her daughter that was there. I did give them 15 days to kind of provide proof to the town clerk's office with vaccination and license documentation. It has not been that 15 days yet. So once that hits, then I'll follow up and go from there. But I did give them a verbal warning. And that's that. And then I also responded, which I was really confused about. Now I know we have canine ordinances in the town of Swanton, but I was unsure of any other ordinances that we had. But Mr. Benson got a call, and he had already spoken to the people. But there was a call about a porcupine that was stuck in a soccer net in the very, very outskirts of the town of Swanton. And so I was unsure. I asked him, and he says, well, I already talked to him. They called the state police. They didn't want to do anything. They called the game warden. Didn't want to do anything. I was like, boy, did they call a pest control person? Nope. I was like, but they called the animal control officer. I was like, awesome. But regardless, I did respond to it because Benson already talked to him and kind of already committed to it, if you will. Looks like the porcupine was there pretty much all day while the people were at work, and it was hot that day, and it was definitely on its way out. So I humanely dispatched the animal and took care of it. I did call Vermont State Police and talked to a officer, and he gave me permission to obviously dispatch a weapon, even though there was no laws broken or anything like that. And I got the homeowner's permission. Actually, she begged me to do it in that case. I just don't feel comfortable that the town of Swanton should be doing stuff like that. I think, is that a normal thing? I guess since I'm new on here.
Should be only dogs.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'd like maybe going further or forward that we not respond to calls like that.
Right.
And maybe let Mr. Benson know that we're only going to stick with dogs, and to not commit to anything like that in the future. One is we're not really supposed to be doing that for the town of Swanton, you know. So
Right. I thought
That's
the
the
game
first,
warden.
that's the first time I've heard
Yeah.
him doing something like that.
Well, he had a cow situation a few months ago
Oh.
that he
And
checked on.
chickens.
yeah.
But, I don't know, I had a call from a resident several years ago, and they had a possum stuck in their garage, but actually its tail was caught in the spring of the garage door. And she called, I said, well, why don't you call the game wardens, and she did. They came down and they took care of it,
Yeah,
and the possum was fine. So,
Yeah, it's kinda odd that the
They-
game warden did.
yeah.
They did call the game warden. They said, nope, we're not taking care of that. Because they called the state police first and wanted to know what to do.
But you didn't call, as a member of the
I-
select board, did you call the game warden?
I called the state police, which is where the game warden is, and I asked them what the proper thing. I said they called the animal control officer, and they're like, yeah, they did everything right. I said, well, the animal control officer unfortunately only deals with dogs typically. You know, I said this is either a
Yeah.
game warden thing or a private
Yeah.
reach out to a, you know, some kind of
Rescue.
nuisance or rescue or pest control, something like that.
I know an office I worked in Burlington had they had raccoons in the building, and, so it was a raccoon rescue league that would got to set traps
Right.
and have a hard time.
Well,
Come see me and I'll give you the game warden that we call all the time and he usually goes.
Is it?
around.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I have a question or something like that, I call Hungerford.
Yeah.
You know, he's the newer, he's a younger guy. Well, he's really good about it. And when I called, I don't know about the resident when they called. When I called, it didn't seem like they were even interested in the situation at all. So. I just, you know, going forward, I think it would be in our best interest to not respond to
Yeah,
Well,
those
I
type
agree.
of calls.
That's,
I agree, but I mean, you know, I don't think it's right that the Fish and Game is not,
Yeah.
is not responding to that. I mean, it could be a rabid animal or something like that, I mean, it's,
yeah.
you think they would wanna make sure everything is okay and then
Yeah.
deal with the animal.
In any event, Cody, I think you exercised good judgment.
Yeah,
That was a
Mhm.
good job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I just didn't, the homeowner was in quite a bit of distress. And
Sure.
they didn't know what to do, and obviously you can't just go up and pick up a porcupine.
No.
So, luckily, kind of, that's the field I'm in anyway, so. It did work out for them, unfortunately not for the porcupine, but, it was all taken care of. And that's all I had so far.
okay, well, we hope business remains good. All right, now we'll go to the LVRT update. And, we had the meeting this
We had
morning.
a very productive meeting, I thought, and, actually, did you get the email from Heidi? She
No,
did a whole summary of the meeting.
no, I didn't,
That was great.
I looked
So,
again at 4:32, I didn't see it.
um,
I guess well, to make sure, of course, we're all aware, but, you know, we are having that kickoff ceremony here, July 15th. It's been moved to 7 o'clock. Governor plans on being here and he plans on riding the whole trail, and you can ride with him. I'll make it clear that anybody that rides on the trail with the governor, there's no shuttles. You can ride as far as you want and turn around, but you're on your own. And nobody's gonna bring you home if you go with
You
him.
said that's the 15th, right?
The 15th at 7
7 AM.
AM, yeah, AM, yeah. Kinda early.
I'm not riding, but I mean, I'll definitely make
I rode with him one time, I think it was last year or the year before, when he was touring the county and all. He can bike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I had trouble keeping up with him.
oh yeah.
Good thing I knew where I was going and couldn't.
Well, he's going all the way to St. Elsbury.
That means his detail does too. But they're not happy about it.
Well, they're gonna be riding along on the side or maybe some.
I'm sure they, yeah.
Some of the discussion obviously is, you know, we kind of, they plan on bringing a little setup for them, you know, for the tent. We expect that there's gonna be media coverage, we're hoping there's gonna be media coverage, for sure. We were gonna add some to our tents to ourselves, and then Brian's got a lot of information, we were talking with the young lady that wants to get in the bacon business, to have something local there, along with water, coffee. The best thing that we came up with is that we're gonna close that portion of the street down from Short Street over to Bushy Street. So there will be no traffic going through there, and it's only from like 6:30 to 8, so it's not and on a Saturday, so it shouldn't be a real big hassle. I'm gonna check with the school district, you know, make sure we can use that parking lot. They can also use the school parking lot and walk down Dick Thompson Trail, right there, not very far away. You see it this morning. Oh, you didn't
Yeah,
go
it's
over it.
just a short little jaunt.
trying to get, make it look good, because it's a big thing for Swan. I think the trailhead is gonna be a big thing for Swan, if you utilize it properly. Nicole was gonna try to work on getting some,
Youth to start the ride with him on their bikes.
and whatever you guys, think we might be able to do or should do, there's gonna be a couple local speakers, but it won't be long. And I suppose the governor's gonna have a few words, and Bernie Sanders is gonna be there, so the rest of us probably won't have a lot of time, but, I don't know, Joel has been mentioned has one because he's done all the work, and we'll have to decide on that too, when we finally get done.
But there won't be any long speeches, as the governor wants to get started and be
Yeah.
on schedule.
Yeah,
So
he's
the
gonna be
plan
here.
is to be out at 7:45.
Yeah, he's gonna be here at 7, it's gonna be done at 7:45.
Now, the refreshments, we did get some price quotes and whatnot, because we don't know how many people are gonna show up, but we figured 75 people. So, the cookies, and then the water, coffee, but the biggest part would be the finger cookies. So anyways, I guess if I could spend up to $500 on this, we'll make sure we should be well covered in $500, I would think.
And we don't need to rent the tents, right? Because you're not
I
gonna
have
have,
them at
Swanton
Swan
Rec.
Rec.
okay,
Yeah.
get it from Swan Rec, so.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a motion to approve that?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'd have to have a
Yeah.
motion.
I'll make a motion to approve up to $500 spending for the.
Second.
Okay, motion been made there, is there more discussion?
Well,
Go
then
ahead.
the other thing is, we're still gonna need some traffic direction.
Yes,
And, well, we're gonna need our highway department guys to set up barricades to shut that street down. So I thought just a couple of them just to help with directing traffic. They would be on the clock, but it's okay. 2, 3.
Do they have signs that say detour now? and
Oh, I'm
stuff?
sure they must
Yeah,
have. But
yeah.
Kevin's on vacation,
Yeah.
I'll talk with Kevin and he'll.
yeah, that put the sign up, but then again, there's gonna be traffic that needs to go through and park in there, so
Yes.
somebody's gonna have
Yep.
to be
Have to
able to
let them
locate
in,
it, yeah.
yeah, let them in. So, yeah, we'll coordinate that. And we also asked that Heidi speak with the police chief, and then I will notify fire and rescue, and that street's gonna be closed for a short period of time. So they use that as the main source to get out on the south end of town and stuff.
Mhm.
And rescue, probably should know that there's gonna be a fair number of people biking
Yeah.
through Swanton and Highgate, just in case.
Are you still looking for people to go to that? How many people are putting up like a tent? You said the baking lady is?
Well, it won't be nobody.
Not really,
no.
it's not really a tent, she's just gonna supply the stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
she's welcome to
Okay.
be there.
Yeah, no, we weren't gonna have vendors here, it was
Yeah.
gonna be just what we.
Not
brought.
our vendor, I was just,
I was gonna reach out to Chief Crawford and let,
well, I thought it'd be like a really good idea to get some of the youth to maybe be there like to jump.
yeah,
But that would be
Oh, yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
Circle of courage.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, okay, no
Sure.
problem, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
All right, that would be a good group, because we got the recreation group. And we get, is there any other group that might, that's the other thing, he's mentioned that, maybe we should think in that way.
so I have a list of stakeholders when I go through to invite everybody on my list, I make sure to include the Abenaki, the Swanton Public Library, the Swanton Enhancement Project, the Swanton Historical Society, the rec department, I think are the really big key ones in Swanton. So when my call for riders goes out, it will be sent to all of those groups.
Yeah, the Swanton Enhancement Project, they should be involved in this. It's definitely gonna enhance Swanton.
Yes. So when I was working on an announcement today from the rec department, letting people know, so I will share that with them
Maybe
as
you
well.
should talk with them directly.
I will see Betsy on Thursday. She's the co-chair.
Okay,
So that starts technically at 7, but that would be good to show up a little bit earlier, right?
6:30.
yeah,
6:30.
6:30.
but we're gonna have another meeting before then, but it is on the 15th.
Yeah.
Do we have a flyer for that yet?
Not yet.
Just
yeah.
a press release.
Just the
And the
press
Agency of Transportation put out something as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
they're
will
supposed to
probably
get,
put out a flyer.
they're supposed to get us a banner, but
If we get
we'll have
that,
to keep
I
in
can put it on
contact. If they don't, we can, you know, I don't know how much it would
Yeah.
cost to have one made ourselves.
If you look on the
Yeah.
the community
So I think
calendar,
they-
pretty pictures.
They probably come through, 'cause they want all their, it's all gonna be branded, I'm sure. So that, but we got his email and phone number. I can
Yeah.
give, Nate a call, just, we don't hear anything in the next day or two, how we're making out. Yeah.
So if you guys come up with any other ideas or thoughts, run them through Brian. You know, we're still in the planning stage.
Yeah.
Try to get as much information out as we can, so people are aware of it.
Hope for good weather.
Yes. All right, MVU sidewalk. Anthony,
Coming.
I like that, like the synopsis you put out, whoever did this
Oh, on
on the sidewalk.
the meeting with Bethany Earl.
Yeah.
That was a good job, that was useful, thank you.
yeah, that's what we were basically told.
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry.
Without getting any answers, and I know there's no answers been determined yet on any of this.
Hello.
Evening.
So I realize we haven't talked since we've had kind of a post-meeting with V-Trans, Brian and Earl, kind of to give an update on how the meeting went, the public input that the town received, and really start to kind of, get some guidance and feedback on some of the alternatives that were raised at the meeting, that seem to be getting some traction. So Earl, I was thinking I had, just some visuals of the different options that were talked about. And between the three of us that were meeting with V-Trans could kind of talk about, we didn't get any hard, yes, you can do that. We got some, maybe, probably not, so nothing clear cut, but is that how you would like to handle this, or what were you
Well,
trying to?
There's one other thing that has come up since we had these conversations. This was really never voted on as a separate article to set aside fundings for the, it was put in the budget.
The only thing in the select board minutes shows.
C, first paragraph, under C.
Now, was it in the town report?
Yes.
It was in the line item in the budget in the town report.
That's all.
$40,000.
That was not mentioned in the select board report at all.
How did they get in the warning? Did we have to approve it to get it in the warning?
You approved the budget, the highway budget. was in there.
Okay, so de facto, maybe there's an approval there or something? Could it be construed as that?
Well,
This.
I don't know.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
Yeah, but so there was no record, there was no separate vote on that question. It was put in the budget and the budget approved, and it continues to be approved. And so that,
But the trouble with grants is it's just a match in kind. We've never put it to vote because it's part of getting the grant. Like when we get the highway grants
right,
for equipment or road or paving or for the the grants for the, putting in the new, on BB Road, the new culvert on BB Road, the new South River one we did a few years
Right,
back.
that's
We get the grant,
and we
the
know
match
there's a
in
match.
kind is just, it's what we have to do to get that grant. So if we don't, we don't really need voter approval on it, because we'd have to do it for every grant we do, no matter what you're doing or how much it is. It's not a requirement of the grant, but it's, because we know going into it that we have this match in kind that we have to do. Like when the highway department, we get it for the, and the match in kind is our hourly pay for our employees, all their benefits. There's so much for each truck, each, you know, the lawnmower, the chainsaw, anything we use, the rollers, everything we get paid. The state has a amount, we do it on a spreadsheet on how many hours each, you know, how many trucks we use, and tandems, pickup trucks, whatever we use. And that's our match in kind, along with sometimes we have to have money too. So it's,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Kathy, but the problem right now, at least that I'm having, is because so many people have come to me and are wondering why we're even doing this. So, is there community support there for it? We don't really know.
And can I ask,
I mean, it
can I
was,
ask this question of, just for some context of, so how does that fit into your next steps?
well, that's what we,
Can you pick, like,
okay,
how does
tonight,
that,
tonight is, you know what, or get off the pot.
Well, wait a minute, Earl, I thought you mentioned that we don't know how the community felt. I thought we had a pretty good representation.
Oh, we did that at our meeting.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, I thought they were
yeah,
really-
that wasn't, that, but I mean, as far as the fact that this was voted on and approved by the voters, and they knew what they were voting on. Now, that's the issue when you do it, like Kathy says. Sometimes it, you know, people don't really pick up on it, and the fact that they didn't put anything in the town report is kind of odd. I mean, I can see them putting it in as a line item, I can but, I mean, at least you
did you
think
find
you
any
mention it.
minutes when they had the people come in from, when the initial start, we had that informational meeting?
Oh, yeah, I read it.
yes,
Oh, so we did find those minutes from
Yeah.
previously way back, okay.
Yep, and so, and then you should have in the minutes when the town, you know, passed the motion to apply for the grant, and then the town, you know, signed the contract at the meeting. But I think what you're getting at is that at no point was there like a single line item on a ballot that said yes or no, do you wanna do this? And so there wasn't, and I think the question I would raise is, well, two things. You know, when as a town do you decide to do that?
Yeah.
You know, what's the precedence? But I think more importantly is that if you stop the project, are you saying you need to have a full vote of the town? If you decide to modify the project, do you need a full ballot item? So I think that's what select boards struggle with is,
Yeah.
what do you all decide as representatives of the people, and what do you bring, you know, specifically as a ballot item?
At the present time, I mean, basically, we have the three choices that are outlined here.
Oh, can I get a copy of whatever you're looking at?
And then you have the proposal for the modification.
I just made some visuals.
Okay,
On the,
all right, we'll take,
I'm imagining are gonna
Go
match
ahead.
the text.
go ahead and pass them out.
Awesome. Pass this around.
I want you to verify I think that's pretty accurate, that second one. There you go.
Yeah, I think that does.
but just from my own understanding, if we went the route of the frontage road, are we proposing to bring the sidewalk all the way to the Siskoy, or just deliver it to the edge of that road? And then the Siskoy takes it from there? We're getting the necessary rights of way or easements and things. I wasn't clear if we're gonna go all the way to the school or just to the edge of the road and say, here you go, kids, you're on your own.
Well, all right, I got the impression they wanted us to go all the way. And that's why I brought up the question as well. We were only going to the MBU property before, why do we have to go further now?
Yeah.
So that would be another question we don't really have an answer for tonight, do we? Until they take a look at this and
Yep.
okay it or not.
But those are, what you're raising is some of the things that I was kind of thinking of and kind of, like mapping out is if the project can go along frontage and then stop at the access road, and if there's a firm agreement, actually I would recommend a signed MOU, going forward, on site,
Yeah.
that the school was going to provide for an ADA pedestrian access. Ross, our project manager, seemed to be like, he was hemming and hawing on that option. But I think that's an option that if the town decided to move forward, that would be more realistic than you using that access road with these grant funds, having to go through wetlands permitting again, having to go through the archaeological for that stretch of property.
Yeah, yeah.
And the historical review.
But, well, the guy from AOT didn't seem to be very excited about the idea of not having it going up to MBU.
He didn't, I mean, and I think it gets to that negotiation of if, would V-Trans go along, if, like was talked about before, the MVU was providing that ADA connection to where your sidewalk ends.
With no time frame commitment.
Yeah, that kind of took me by surprise when I read that letter. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, that seemed like you guys were all gung-ho, and then boop, they're like, yeah, we don't know.
And that actually, in context, I had a few emails with the superintendent, several weeks before that letter was sent, where we were actually talking about timing. So that letter actually really took me by surprise that they weren't thinking about timing and that this was a whenever. And I think I forwarded some of that correspondence with you. Older, that was the 2022 correspondence. So, and that's, things change, so that's fine. It was just, that was a very surprising development. And that's why I'm saying, if you're moving forward, and if the school is playing a role in providing, and saying we're providing some kind of access to where your sidewalk or path ends, moving forward, making sure that there's something a little bit, an MOU at least.
Yeah.
Or at least do some kind of, maybe not a whole joint meeting, but
Yeah.
something.
Did anyone get a feeling that the school's not really interested in this? I saw that letter, we see these letters all the time. It's like you used to call it a balloon with no skin, nothing there. And I would have thought that because of student safety, NVU would be right on this as much as they could, but that wasn't a very impressive letter. And it was like, yeah, well, maybe we will, but we don't have any money for it, it's not on our priority list. So I got a real lukewarm feeling about MVU's commitment to this. That was just, but that's my opinion, somebody else may feel altogether different.
Well, it's, I think they're probably looking at this the same way a lot of people are looking at it. They just don't see the kind of use out there. So maybe that's why it's not a priority with them. I don't know,
Could be right.
for sure, but that's one of the issues that's been brought up is how many kids do you see over there, you don't see, so.
If I can speak to, the MVU support, again, things change over time when these projects move on. What I would say is that, I didn't write the application when the town decided to apply, but as soon as I was on board, my sense from the school was, very supportive of the project and having their facilities manager participate in the project, work with our engineer, the town's engineer, to decide, okay, how is this exactly going to meet up?
I served on the school board 2 different times, back in the mid-70s for I think it was 3 years, and then again 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 10
Yeah.
years ago. And I don't ever remember that discussion coming up.
No.
And my memory is good long term. I don't know what I have for breakfast, but, and I never remember that ever coming up. So when I saw that letter, I said, well, okay, maybe we're more concerned about it than they are.
Yeah. Well, here's the position we're in right now. These options are what we really got. I mean, and if we accept option 2, we're just gonna have to wait till we get some kind of reply back before we can make the final decision. Because then, if they're saying that we gotta pay this much money back, and then we're gonna be responsible for the cost, even if we don't go up that road, just along frontage road, you know, the design and all that. You know, then we'll have to make the decision at that point in time. Unless you wanna go through as the project is right now.
Well, again, thank you
Or
for this.
pull the plug.
Thank you for this, because one way of measuring the public's support of this, or coming from somewhere, is to say, pull the plug. And let's see what the response might be, okay. Or it might incite some folks to really come forward and take this thing and shake it by the horns. Or it might just die as a natural death. So number 3 would bring closure, and it might invite other folks who have a burning interest to see it happen, come forward. If not, then we just move on to other matters.
Well, if we pull the plug and people come forward, what do we do?
We'd have to start from scratch again, right?
Yeah.
You can, next time the application comes up, you can reapply, and go from there.
It seemed like a lot of, even the people that lived on that stretch were not completely against the idea of it. They just didn't want it going through their front lawns. And it seemed like a lot of people raised some really good ideas about, going up to the back. And that, to me, maybe that was just my observation, my opinion, that seemed like the kind of the majority was, hey, still put a sidewalk there because it's still gonna be beneficial, but just shoot it up frontage road. The only concern I had was the whole grant thing, how I had to meet up, and like that could, if MVU doesn't do anything, then it's all for nothing, right? We can't just leave the sidewalk empty, right? Or there's no connecting, so that then we wouldn't get any funding. So it could die a natural death if MVU doesn't do something, right?
And maybe we could test the waters by saying no, it's over. And, I can see concerned citizens for the sidewalk come forward. Okay, fine, we appreciate you being here. What do you wanna do? How do you wanna proceed? But I have not had anyone come forward, by the way, and tell me they thought this was a good idea. Not one.
Well, without MVU putting a sidewalk in, most people are, even if they're in favor of, the question, why spend that money?
How does it look though for the town of Swanton to get this far into this and then to turn around and say, nope, we're done, when we go and reapply for other grants from, the same funders in the future? Are they gonna be like, oh, I don't know if we wanna give Swanton that opportunity because they pulled out of this project while they're already, so close to moving into the construction phase?
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, what I can say is I don't know how that factors in, organically when they do reviews. I don't recall if there is a question on the evaluation when they rank projects where they say, okay, success with past projects. I don't think it's there, but I don't know how it would influence scores on other questions.
Right. Well, we have been successful, but I'm just thinking there must be other towns that have been in this situation and stopped on different kind of projects. they found that it wasn't as feasible, it didn't have a community sports, other things changed, laws changed since this is first started.
Is it a waste of time to request someone from, a representative from the school board to come talk about this? Maybe we could either get a commitment from them saying, yep, we're gonna do this, or nope, we can't, because if they can't do it, then it, again, it has a natural death, and there's nothing we can do, because the grant is no longer able to be used.
If they had an opportunity, though, that's a good point, Corey, but they've had an opportunity to come forward,
And they have it.
and they haven't.
Other than the letter that we
Other
received.
than the letter,
And to my knowledge, they couldn't come last time because they had a scheduled school board meeting that
Yeah.
night.
But Dan Palmer was there.
Yes.
I don't know if he even planned on talking truthfully.
Earl, when you were on the school board, did
Yeah.
that ever come up?
No,
If there is a school board member that you would like to talk to who has been on the board since and has actually been keeping tabs on it, it's Pete Magnet. He is the Franklin rep.
yeah,
And so, you know, if you move forward and wanna have a discussion with a school board member to talk about potential alternatives, you know, that would be, you know, of course, go through the chair,
Yeah.
but Pete has definitely followed the details.
But
of
if
the
we said
project.
no, then someone like Pete might come forward.
If you say no, though, this is the, you know, are you gonna say no, running the project, are you passing a motion for that? That means that V-Trans, you know, the process starts and the project's canceled and you start payback. So that's what no means, and that's fine, it's just that there's no like saying no
yeah.
and then being like, oh, we were just testing the waters, because V-Trans will cancel the project.
I think it's gonna be our safety net, but this idea right here seemed to be the general, you know, agreement for everybody, but, you know, we could at least put something like this out there to people, and if the school board's like, yeah, well, we're gonna do this, here's an agreement on paper saying we're gonna do this within this time frame, blah, 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 if they don't, then really it's out of our control, and it's, does that make sense, I guess? You know, there's nothing we can do about it if MVU doesn't wanna.
Is it time to entertain a motion, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, if you want to.
We've had ample discussion. Before we go any further though, Bethany, you've been a really big asset to this whole process.
Thank you.
I've only been on this board about a year, and I'm impressed with what you've done. You really have worked hard and laid out all of the pros and cons and the funding, and so I appreciate that, and I hope it gets in the minutes. I would vote that we pull the plug on the entire project, and we repay whatever we have to. The 90,000, it could be up or down, and just move on at this point.
All right, motion's been made. There's a second.
You're saying just pull out altogether, Steve?
What's that?
You're saying pull out altogether?
So you're seconding the motion?
No,
What?
no, I didn't say.
Oh, okay.
I was asking a question.
Well, that's the motion right now. If there isn't a second,
It dies for lack of.
it dies for lack of a second.
Well, it's really, it's a tough one because there's so many, there's so many variables here. And I, you know, with the input that we got from the people, like Cody picked up on, and I got the same vibe, the people that live on that road aren't against it. They just don't want it going off their property. But I gotta say, if we're going to go back to day one, you know, that school has been there how many years now, Steve?
1978,
1970.
And
Yeah,
all those years, we never had a sidewalk. Why do we need a sidewalk now? I just,
Well, it gets back to the basic question of why it ever started, and, you know, I mean, I'm sure there were people that wanted to see something like this happen, obviously there must have been, but when I look at that scoping study, I don't see a lot of local people bringing it forward. There was, you know, there was the Mount Wise and all that, and that's, we need those things, no, I'm not questioning that, but I'm just saying, from a local standpoint, it doesn't seem like it was really driven. The one that was really driven in that scoping report was that South River Street, which, you know, ran into all kinds of problems, and there certainly were a lot of people involved in that.
I think where we're at, Earl, right now is, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. We're gonna get criticized either way.
Well, it's a no-win situation, for
That's
sure.
fair. That's very fair.
But I guess if we can't get a second to pull on the plug, I'm gonna suggest that we let the thing keep moving forward, only to get answers to number 2. No more work. No more engineers, no more, you know, I mean, the right-of-way's been defined, you wait for the AO, Department of Transportation to say if what he put together is right, and okay, that's right, that's where we're at right now,
What's the
right?
answer you're looking for, Mr. Chair?
The answer I would be looking for, is, for one thing, is will they approve the change we're proposing? And who's gonna pay for it? Okay, and then how much are we gonna have to pay back if we go to this plan? And then I'm gonna throw in the 4th thing, MOU from the school.
Did we ever, not to interrupt, did we ever find out, the cost of each of these?
No.
No, we don't know anything like that?
So, Bethany, but you did point out, you didn't have a good feeling for Vermont Tran that they would go along with this.
So,
Their-
I mean,
their gut.
again, no, we got shades of gray in what was, you know, what, it's not just V-Trans, they have to go to federal highway
Yeah.
and get approval. What I would say is if you honed in on this option of keeping the project exactly like it is from, you know, from the mobile station to frontage, doing a small section of sidewalk up frontage, stopping the project at the access road, entering into an MOU with the school that they are going to provide an acceptable ADA, either path or sidewalk,
You didn't need it,
oh shoot, where was I going with this?
You were
I was
gonna
going
say
down the path.
that they might buy that, because there was a concern from
Yep.
them, from, the guy from the Department of Transportation, that wasn't gonna be accessible to the Federal Highway Administration.
And I think, again, that was shades of gray.
Yeah.
Where I think the town has, a stronger case for making the argument to the feds is that before the feasibility study, like your feasibility study said, oh, either, like, we're not quite sure. And it wasn't until after the feasibility study that the select board, you know, decided on the current alignment. So going back to the Fed and being like, look, this other option was, you know, a strong contender in the feasibility. It meets the purpose of needs of having a safe route to school. For X, Y, and Z reasons, the town wants to go back to that original alternative. And so I do think it's not like this is an option, like a route that completely new. Like, you've looked at it, you've gone through scoping.
Was that road even there when they did that whole thing?
It was a path.
It was a path, but now it's actually usable, so like things have changed, so.
Exactly, and I think
that
you
would
heard
play a
that.
strong case in,
And obviously, this is, if we were to get approval to go forward with a second plan, then our grant money that we've already been awarded should cover that.
So, well, 2 things, because I want you,
Yep, go ahead,
so one thing with this option, if we do just the frontage
Yep.
street, is, you know, it does that, for that piece of the sidewalk, it has to kind of go back to the beginning. You know, you're gonna get the environmental permits, you're getting the NEPA clearance, archaeological, you know, so there's cost to that. But if you're not doing the entire, if you're leaving out the access road, then I think that's manageable. there was one piece, and Brian, I don't know, you seemed to hone in on it, where they were talking about having, even if we do a different route, that V-Trans would require payback for the section that has been spent from frontage to
Yes.
Thunderbird.
Yeah,
And what,
yeah.
And I've never heard that before, and
Well, he said it.
and what was that number?
It's
I
unknown.
don't know, they have to get broken
Yeah,
out, I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, it was gonna have to
You
be.
know, we didn't have a number, but it does, that's what, I came away with the same as well.
He said that,
But,
plus pay for the entire
yeah,
sidewalk up to the school.
at least that's what he's thinking, the
That's what he
federal
was thinking,
highway
but they
will
will-
require.
Right, that's right.
I don't
That's
see how
his
that-
thought.
Yeah, I don't see how
That
it
isn't, that isn't a,
That's not definite.
No.
I mean, that was just his thought that they could require.
Bethany said it wasn't a yes or no, it was more maybes, and it creates more work for them.
So this started in
So it's not something that
2016.
they really wanna see happen.
Yeah,
This started in 2016.
yeah.
And this project, if we go forward, we're looking at another 3 years.
To winning this.
Oh, I would say 3 if you're,
If we
Starting-
change it, yeah.
if you change it.
Even if you didn't change it, it'd be 2 years.
Can I make, one thing about getting federal highway approval, and I brought this up in our meeting with V-Trans, looking at past precedents, where, there have been lots of cases where towns, had to alter projects during design. One that I would point to is Bakersfield, where they did some level of design, from the town clerks all along 108 and stopped at a gas station. By the time the project, as they got into it, they realized they didn't have the funding, and they stopped the project at the school. And so they just kind of did, okay, that was phase 1. And then years later, 6 years later, V-Trans ended up building that second section of sidewalk as part of a stormwater project. So I do think there's precedent for shortening a project, but making sure that you have, that the project is ending at a logical place.
Does that change your way of thinking at all?
No, I think we've had enough of this, I really do. I think we're gonna have to pay something. None of us caused all this, none of us were around when this was put to bed. And I think when they voted for this years ago, they probably had everything in the right, they thought they were doing the right thing, and they probably were. So I'm not faulting what they did before. I just think we've had enough. I've had enough of it. Time to move on. We'll pay the piper and
Well,
I second it.
you're seconding it now.
Yep.
Okay, now, we can do something.
so we resurrected the motion.
Well, are you making a motion again?
Yes, I will make that motion again.
I know how you do that in minutes. I guess a guy can make the same motion twice, or anybody can make the same motion twice.
Well, we were still in.
You were still in discussion.
Still
Yeah.
discussion, so we don't.
Okay, yeah. All right, and we got a second on it. Now, does there wanna be any more discussion? Everybody's aware of what the options are. None of them are good.
No, I think I just have, I guess my gut is telling me that, down the road, it's just gonna be put to bed anyways, because NBU's not gonna follow through with their side, and it's gonna just leave us in a pinch no matter what. The only question I have is there some kind of clause where we don't get the grant because MVU doesn't hold up their end of the deal? Does that mean we don't have to pay back the money, because it's not our fault?
No.
So no matter what happens, we're gonna have to pay it back.
If you stop the project,
Right,
there's the
but
payment.
if, say if we went forward, but MVU doesn't build their part, well, we can't move forward anymore, right? That stops us, they stop us. I didn't know if that was some kind of.
Are you asking if we were to continue on with option 1, build the sidewalk up to Thunderbird Drive like that we had originally planned, but MVU decides that they're not going to build that, will we have to pay for the project out of pocket?
Well, I guess, like right now, MVU's saying, hey, we don't know when we're gonna do this, but they need to do something or some kind of agreement in order for us to get funding. Isn't that part of the requirements?
No, No,
Do
it
you
was,
wanna,
we kinda thought it was, but apparently the original agreement that the Federal Highway Administration agreed to did not put any timeline on when they did this sidewalk. So this is another assumption that the department of guy, from transportation guy, what's his name?
Ross,
Ross
yeah.
said. But he wasn't, this wasn't a, yes, this is why it was done. Cause maybe if he goes back there now and he shows them the letter from the school, they may say, well, no, we thought we were gonna have sidewalks there in a reasonable time period. I don't know how, what the reaction's gonna be. That's just like you're saying here, okay, if we put that on the frontage road to that section, which is basically the same thing if we went forward with the project as is, we're bringing it to MVU's blank property. But MVU ain't gonna do nothing on that trail, and they're saying now, no, we gotta have, you're gonna have to do something. I mean, so there's a lot of ifs, and, it's gonna be a while before you find out too, so. I guess the motion's been made and seconded, I'm gonna call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait, of killing it, right?
Yeah, I'm killing it.
Oh, I'm saying, aye, yeah.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay for the record, okay. Well, the majority voted for it, okay. Well, I do want to thank you too, Bethany, for all you've done, and it's no reflection on you or the Regional Planning Commission,
Yeah, I
okay?
know.
You worked good in the past, and I plan on working in the future too.
Sounds good. Do you want an update on Bushy Road?
Yes.
All right. So, V-Trans, I think it was in May that,
No, that was a good one.
I think it was in a May meeting that the town decided that they did want to make the formal request to V-Trans to do an intersection feasibility study at 207 Bushy Road and, is it Town Highway 34? What's that called? Is it
Sheldon Road.
Shoulder, yeah,
Shoulder
that
Road.
might be 34, yeah.
And V-Trans, has approved that. And so what's happening now is that our transportation planner, Kyle Grenier, is working to get that language into a contract amendment for our transportation planning work program. And so we're gonna move that ahead. We'll start with just a little bit of seed money to get the project started, so we'll work with V-Trans on developing the scope of work. And then NRPC will reach out to our pre-qualified engineering firms to, to get quotes on the work. And we'll want to have a representative from the select board, as part of that selection process. Looking at timing, so realistically, we won't get our amendment of any additional funds in there until July. And probably maybe August into early September, we'll get the consultant on board and running. And so it will carry on into our next federal fiscal year work program of FY24.
Will this impact the state's plan to put up that great big building up there?
So, that NRPC did have a meeting with V-Trans to kind of get fully up to speed on that project. And we did talk about that access road. And one thing we did talk about their access drive that they're planning off of 207 to get to their property, which would intersect with your town right-of-way
Yeah.
As it curves up.
Yeah.
And, the question has been raised of, well, if the intersection can be modified and made safe, is it should V-Trans be, doing their own access road? Or can they, be utilizing a better, using the 207 Bushy Road intersection and using.
If it's upgraded.
If it's upgraded and if it's a real,
Yeah, correct.
teed off,
Right.
proper site distance, proper turning radii, the whole 9 yards. So that was actually raised by a V-Trans person. My concern is that because their process is so accelerated, realistically, it's going to be, they're doing their own thing. You know, we come up with some solutions of that intersection, which I think are really doable.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, that they won't be, you know, utilizing the intersection.
Yeah.
But
There is one benefit where what they're proposing right now, that the road that they wanna build access in there. If you go on if you're heading towards Highgate, the left-hand side of 207, which is all, you know, gonna be is all in that same development area, Southern Growth District. There could be a T right there. That would enter almost the center of everything on the left-hand side. Has an access road and, you know, whatever, if it was housing or industrial or whatever kind of development down there, they could access off 207 at that same interchange. And then keep 207 and Bushy Street just more for local. Instead of what's gonna go into these where the Southern Growth District is. Kinda makes sense to me because, you know, down there, you're still gonna need another turn to get to the other side. Somewheres, and that land is gonna get developed.
and
There's no doubt about that.
I guess I'm not, and maybe you'll or someone else will be sitting in the selection committee and we
Yeah.
can kind of map that.
Yeah.
I'm not quite visualizing what you're saying, but I do like that thought of being really strategic and whatever improvements happening at the intersection, you need to be thinking about how does this fit into the future development?
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, 'cause
Wow.
that land's been up for sale for a while for that big piece there. I mean, somebody's gonna snag
Oh,
it,
yeah,
right,
it's
so.
gonna happen.
Especially with water infrastructure
And
coming.
once water comes in there, they're gonna be on it.
And that's the problem, if we don't get involved in it, we're gonna have to deal with the after effect. I'd rather plan for it.
Yeah, has anything been, I know the idea's been floated to do some, like a master planning for that, for your growth district. Has that gone
No.
anywhere, or?
Well, we're still working on it, I think we're gonna have some more discussions on that tonight, you know,
Alright.
but yeah, we'd like to get something going sooner than later. Because right now, you know, you got the state coming in there, something else could happen, all of a sudden, you're getting this hodgepodge stuff going, one here, one there, and may not end up the way we want it to, and of course, we gotta deal with the landowners too, we gotta, you know, you gotta understand that, but, I think we've got a lot more work to do, but we're working in that direction, right?
Excellent.
I'll report on that
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, that's good news. I got just one thing. You updated your regional plan based on public input.
Yes.
Did they just do what was changed? You know, like, do you have to read the whole thing again and know what you read before? Or is there a way they can be reported? So they say, okay, this section C, this is the way it was before, now after public input, we've added this or took this out.
So I'll ask Catherine on how that gets summarized. I don't know if it's similar to like, you know, a town plan or
Right.
zoning regulations where you, instead, not doing track changes or anything, but kind of, you know,
Yeah,
do that narrative reporting. I'll check with her. She's on
Yeah.
vacation until Monday.
yeah, that's fine.
But I did, you know, you made a comment to me verbally.
Yeah.
About the Swanton,
Growth.
your growth center and our growth center
Yeah.
and ensuring that it,
Yeah,
you know, the boundaries is aligned. And so that was submitted to her via email.
okay. That's the only part I would look for now, to get an updated, they're probably not out yet, are they?
Yep, it's on the
They are?
website.
It's on the website?
Yep.
So I could go on the website just and then look, okay, I'll do that, I'll try to do it anyways, if I can.
I will print one out for you. Actually, I think I have it in my car.
Oh, you do?
I may.
Oh, I want that.
She's always prepared, she's like Mrs. Swan.
So I don't want to derail your agenda completely, but I just want to looping back to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
What are the next steps as far as notifying V-Trans? Am I doing that? Are you having Brian do it?
Well, I think, to do it right, it should be a letter from the select board.
Okay.
Signed either by the select board or by the chair. How do you wanna do it?
share.
I think for public records should be signed by the select board.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
What's that?
I think for public records should be signed by all the select board.
It might be in this situation, I think it's probably a good idea, yeah, I agree with you Ed there. So, we're gonna have, Brian will have to draft up a letter, and be nice, Brian.
No, I will. Aren't I usually?
And once he gets that together and the board all agrees to it and we get it signed, then I think Brian should talk with you.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if you wanna approach it together. You know, you and Brian, or, you know, I could get involved if you felt it was. I don't want the Regional Planning Commission to have any repercussions from this,
Oh, we won't have repercussions.
you know.
No, we won't. I think we're good there. We will, you know, we'll have mechanics besides, you know, the town, you know, at some point we'll decide, you know, I'm currently on contract to serve as your MPM. You know, that, well, I think there's a clause about how we stop that process, you know, which is fine.
Yeah, but we got other work to do.
Oh, of course I have other work.
Yeah, but I mean for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
different pot of money.
Okay, so, yeah.
Different pot of money. You know, and then there's some mechanics as far as, you know, how many days to notify TCE, who's already been told, you know, don't do any work. So it's not like they're continuing on to do
Yeah, right.
anything. What I don't know, because this will be, you know, first time that I've had a project where a town has made the motion to completely stop. What I don't know is, you know, what's the process as far as, you know, the aftermath for the town financially. And I'm assuming, you know, I'm gonna help you clean up to a certain point,
Yeah.
and then it's going to be, you know, Brian, you serving as, you know, representative for the select board,
Yeah.
to, you know, deal with the financial
Yeah.
payments and payback and that negotiation.
Okay, so we'll try to get that letter done this week, that should be possible, hey, everybody should be able to slip in here,
Yeah.
we get it signed, so
School's
we
out
can have
tomorrow.
something, you know, by the end of the week, so next
Sounds
week
good.
they can get going on it, and, go from there.
Go from there, all right.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Update, okay, now we're going on to the library.
Well, the HVAC installation is continuing. They started last week, and speaking with the guys who are working, there's 2 guys working on it. They expect to be done midweek next week. Now, I did get an email this afternoon from the salesman who was working this. And in our original package was the purchase and installation of new thermostats. The thermostats that they're gonna be putting in are exactly what we've got there right now. So he can save us $900 and saying we don't want new
So is it-
thermostats.
Yeah,
They're the same thing, exact same thing, so, and the new equipment will work just as well with that, so we can save $900.
so they haven't ran into any problems on that project that they've said to you?
No, the guys have been saying it's gone pretty smooth. You know, they were down in the basement, and now they're working in the attic, and they're not looking forward to Friday's weather forecast, but, you know, they've done it before, they said, in worse places.
Allen Pigeon's doing that, right?
No, this is Alliance.
Oh, Alliance is doing
Yeah.
it, okay.
And, so, yeah, it's going okay.
So the next issue pertaining to the library is the ice issue.
Yeah.
The ice issue,
Build up of ice on
Yeah.
these and.
I don't have the answer to it. I don't know, I don't think there's anybody in this room that's qualified to give an answer to what exactly
I'm
needs
not.
to be done.
Well, he kind of explained it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, and that, but we'll, you know.
I didn't go to school for it, that's for sure.
That's right. So if we were gonna put out a request for proposals, we'd have to request a plan to rectify the problem, and then how much is it gonna cost?
Do we know what the problem is?
Well, more than logically, I mean, common sense wise, there's a big opening up there in that section in between the old building and the new building. And they got 3 heaters up there. And the room is well insulated, but but then there's a hallway, supposedly the door's shut, but still it's not. There's warm air going in where the cold air, you know, so when that warm air gets in there, it starts melting the snow, and that's what's forming the ice. Now, it may be simple, just build a good enclosure, insulate it as best you can, because you're gonna have some loss, you can't help it, but is that gonna be enough to stop it? I ain't sure, because the other issue in there, and we didn't have much of a light that day, is like David Winchester was saying, those big heat pipes are going right through the freaking attic part.
Should we get an engineer in there to give us an idea of what has to be done before we?
No, I mean, maybe we should have, but, I'm hoping it's not gonna be a disaster. Maybe there's a better way of insulating the system that goes through there. That's why I would, if we were gonna put it out, we should put it out as, you know, we want you to come up with a plan. Here, we got this icing problem here.
Mhm.
What's your solution? How much is it gonna cost?
Just like we did with the cellar.
Yeah. But I wouldn't wait too much longer because,
No, I get that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, needs to,
Yeah.
we need to get on that.
yeah, we gotta get on to it. We're gonna try to get something done. And if we keep letting that happen, we're gonna spend a lot more money on that building.
Yep.
So I guess we make a motion that we're gonna do that. And then Brian and Christina can get it done.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to put out an RFP for repairing or addressing the icing issue at the library. Is there any more discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
I'd like to add on to the library thing.
Okay, go
Do you have
ahead.
an update on like the other repairs and the potential contract that we were looking for the
Yeah.
plumbing and all that?
I had an appointment last Friday with the guy who does the plumbing end for Alliance,
Mhm.
but he had to cancel, because he had an emergency come up. We're gonna meet tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
He's quite confident, without even looking at it, he can have an electronic, instead of doing the float in the sub pump, they have an electronic that they set down, and when that hits that, it'll start to pump. There's no float to get
Going
going down.
up and down, it'll get stuck.
And then he'll look at other stuff. They will be able to service preventative maintenance on all plumbing. They just don't do an emergency call in the middle of the night if there's a problem. So that's tomorrow, he's supposed to come.
That's gonna include the toilets and all that stuff, right, part of plumbing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We have ordered a new toilet, but that's not through them. The one in the basement that was giving us problems, well, when they put the part in, they discovered that the whole bottom of it is also all cracked, which Alan Pinion didn't notice. He wasn't there himself, but he was there to put that part in. The toilet is working, it's not leaking yet, but it could, so there's a new toilet on order. So that's the update there for now. As far as I know, James Gilmet, who got the contract to do the work around, not sure, I believe was planning originally on doing it on September. I haven't seen him to ask him if that's still the case, but his schedule is gonna work around what he needs done, so, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
When you're talking about the Alliance, the plumbing side, we're gonna do a contract with them? Or just call?
Well, we really, and I'll get more information on this tomorrow, we really don't need a contract. We already have a contract with them, so we'll just add plumbing onto that.
But you said no emergencies at night, but what about during the day if you call
Oh,
them?
if it's during business days, yeah.
They would come.
Yeah, yeah, and just with nights and weekends, they don't provide emergency service, but we're not saying we wouldn't have an emergency, but I don't, see where we would necessarily
But
have
if
an
we call them
emergency.
and then say there was an emergency and we call them, would they come and bill us for it? mean,
Well, that's
outside of
what
the
I do
building?
have to ask them.
Yeah.
The emergency would be if the heat failed, one of those units went down, but that's covered under
Under
the
the-
contract with the heating
Heating
system.
system.
So that's,
So you'll find out more
we'll
about
find
that,
out
yeah.
that, yeah. The other stuff, as far as plumbing, springing a leak, we'll just go turn the water off.
Well, yeah, you can do that,
And then the other thing that could leak in cold weather especially is the sprinkler system, but
Yeah.
that's handled separate.
yeah.
So, yeah, so I think we'd still be pretty well covered.
Well, you'll be reporting at our next meeting
Yep.
then on what they got.
Yeah.
Anything else on that, Cody? That-
That's it, just.
All right, new town business, hazardous mitigation program.
Okay, well, this is something new. The federal government in the state of Vermont has come out with a new program. They announced it a couple of months ago. Prior to this, if people living, say, on North River Road or Monument Road get flooded out, the federal government would buy them out, but only at 75% of fair market value.
Yeah.
So nobody would ever take advantage of that offer. Now, coupled with the state funding, they're gonna be able to buy out at 100%. And so far, in the town of Swanton, the town and village, we've got 3 individuals who wish to be bought out. Because this is through FEMA and emergency management, and emergency management is a town, not a village, a town responsibility, we have to run that program. Or I'm gonna be responsible for the program, the town is, and Reggie is still the emergency management
Yeah.
director, so two of us will work. What the process is, somebody, one of these people who have applied, it's about a 2-year process before they get approved. They get the government will get a real estate appraiser, and that's the price they're gonna pay.
Yeah.
And then the homeowner or property owner can either take it or not.
Yeah.
If they take it, the federal government will tear the building down, remediate the site if needed, but the town will end up owning the site once it's cleared to go. And we have to promise never to develop it, never to put a structure on it, but we have to keep it mobile. Or some, if it's whatever. So that's how this program's gonna work. Heidi is familiar with it, she handled the grant thing, so, for Highgate,
Yeah.
so what I need tonight, and there'll be some further forms to fill out for the town to fill out, is I need a motion from the board authorizing me to sign on behalf of the town under the hazardous mitigation program for FEMA in the state of Vermont.
Do we have to do this?
No, it's not something that we have to do, but, well, I take that back. Since we're in the flood insurance program, we may have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forget about the flood insurance program.
So you need a motion that the town authorize our town administrator to sign all the paperwork for the new hazardous mitigation program?
New hazardous mitigation program.
I'll move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
All right, did you get all that? Okay. All right, the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we're going to ratification of the addition of Juneteenth to the town holiday schedule. So we just need a motion
Yeah,
to
that
approve
would
it.
be able to put on the holiday schedule.
I'll make that motion then, to add Juneteenth to the town holiday schedule.
Second.
All right, okay, just, you don't know what it is? You don't know what Juneteenth
That was yesterday.
was yesterday?
June
I mean,
19th.
you did miss
It's
it
a
this year.
Federal holiday.
Oh, sorry, I'm not familiar with it, so.
Did Ed second that? Who seconded
I
that?
second.
No,
No, I
No, you made the
I
motion.
I second it.
Okay, so
Second, okay, I'll tell you afterwards. All right, so the motion's been made and seconded. Is there any more discussion?
I just have a question, and only because I'm new. How many paid holidays do we have now in town?
I have to get into that.
You don't have to, now, I'm just curious.
So if it's a federal, then why doesn't the school get it out?
They don't get Veterans Day off.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, they do, they get, that's weird, ain't it?
Not happy about it.
I just, you don't have to, I'm just
Unless you know
curious.
where it is.
Yeah.
How many-
Okay.
How many days were
I
closed?
think the village has like 13, right?
The village ratified it too, added to their.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what-
They had 13 and we had 13, now we both got 14.
That's
I
right.
think it's
We have
14.
two, actually, for a 5-day work week, we have almost 3 weeks of holidays. Work-
14, like 2 weeks.
5 each.
5,
Yeah,
yeah,
open
I
5
guess,
days.
yeah.
Okay, I just curious.
12?
Well, anyways, motion been made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion carried to add Juneteenth to the town holiday schedule. All right, revolving loan fund guidelines and policies, you sent that out.
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
First of all, this is a very vanilla thing.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to propose is that between now and maybe a month, Kathy and Brian and whoever is appointed from the board to be on this committee, get together and clean this thing up. There's a whole bunch of changes that.
Yeah, some of the stuff probably isn't,
There's redundancy.
right, yeah,
uh,
yeah. I looked at it and
It's pure vanilla, and I think we need to clean it up.
Yeah.
And then come back to the board from this committee, whoever would be the representative from the select board, and then say, this is what we'd like to propose.
yeah.
As it stands now, we shouldn't approve this.
No, I mean, this was generated to get the discussion going.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what.
And it certainly has, some of the stuff, like in the beginning, when you're talking about that committee, okay, that would be the first step, and maybe we should get that done tonight,
Yeah.
of who we're gonna get. Now, you were talking one select board member,
One select board member.
you,
And,
Town clerk.
and the town clerk.
I would highly recommend Mr. Bourgeois.
Well, I think he is, probably qualified, yes.
Yeah, I think he might be.
Written a lot of them, reviewed a lot of them, maybe 100.
Can I look at your resume first?
You would
I'll
accept
tell
that
you.
position, wouldn't you, Steve?
Yeah, I just think we need some real professional review here, and I think the three of us can add a lot to it.
Do you have any experience?
yeah,
That's what he did.
I get a little rusty.
But I wanna say one thing now. I understand, that, business is gonna run a certain way, and the town has gotta, operate somewhat on a business principles too. But we still are the town. We're not really in business, the only business we're in is hopefully make this a better place to live and a place our children wanna live. So some consideration in this, we may take a few chances that somebody else wouldn't take, just
Well,
because,
this is a high-risk loan
Yeah.
program. I mean,
Yeah.
I've watched them for 50 years.
yeah.
They're all high risk.
And I think that's something that, we're gonna be willing to accept going forward.
I can tell you some stories out of Montpelier that make your head spin when it comes to loan.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not saying we're gonna get that way, but, I mean, maybe if it was maybe there was some options that the town could decide, okay, we're gonna defer these payments for this part until you get going here. As long as they're bringing in the cash flow. The other thing too is a percentage of the friggin' profits.
Well, I want to be careful there.
I know, but these are things that have been done in other places.
You know, I think we can be, we can be flexible.
Yeah,
I've seen hundreds of these programs.
yeah, you certainly have.
I'm talking these small
Yeah,
loan
yeah.
programs around the whole state. Some of them work pretty well, others don't.
Yeah,
And one of the things we wanna be careful of is that we don't, sometimes the best answer you can say, you can give is no.
that's right,
And we don't wanna ruin
yeah.
these borrowers' futures and destroy the credit reports and all that stuff. So I think your point is well taken, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we will be flexible. We're not even there yet.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
I think,
And I think at this point in time, well, okay, go ahead, Brian.
well, no, I just think that, you know, it's, in addition to a loan application and going through that process as dictated in policy, you have to monitor the loan after.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, yeah,
And that, may take, well, it depends on the individual. You know, if things are going well, payments coming in, you don't have to do much monitoring.
right.
So that's.
Yeah, it's gonna be
now.
some work, I understand that.
So I do know at one point, I thought Tim Smith had mentioned that they could manage the program for us. But I haven't.
Well, it'll
I
be a
can
conversation you
I can
guys
get
will have to
them
have.
and see, but we just have to make
Yeah.
certain that it's for
Yeah.
loans from individuals or businesses of the town and village of Swanton.
Yeah, yes,
But we
yes.
could see if they would be able to do that as
I think we all kind of options out.
well. Yeah.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion that we're gonna have Steve, Brian, and Kathy on the committee, and let them go through this and report back to the board. Do you wanna put a timeline on it?
No, month.
I'm gonna say within 30 days.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, do you get all this? Okay, so the motion been made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion carried. Highway Department.
That's you, Earl.
Yeah, well, Brian, I don't know, who wants to give him the good or it's all bad news?
Well, the Berry Road culvert, and we're gonna, I have had a conversation with my counterpart up in the town of Fairfield, who was gonna put this to her select board last week, which she did, but in her absence, because she had that stomach bug. They are interested in certainly meeting, but they would like, since we're gonna have the representatives and senators there, they would like to also throw in the fact that they have a bridge ready to fall down.
Well, yeah.
And that they would like to bring that up to the audience.
Okay.
And probably do a site visit. I don't know where this bridge is,
No.
but it's in pretty tough shape.
Yeah.
They're in the same boat, they can't get any help with it. But they're told, well, if it falls down,
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
then the state will help. So
That's a touchy
that, so I'm gonna try to figure out what date works for them and for us.
And you're contacting all the
I'll take
politicians?
care of the politicians. I already, well, I was up in Fairfield yesterday, and saw their local representative
Yeah,
and told him he's coming.
yeah.
But he says, well, we're busy this week. I said, I know you are,
Yeah.
you're busy this week. So I'll send out a date when we try to figure this out. Swanton Hill, I sent that to you, you know, the bad news there is it's a pretty costly fix to the problem as well. And Kevin and I went up there last week because there was a guy from the state, was there to look at diverting the water for the phosphorus runoff and all
Yeah.
this stuff, and he talked a great deal, but I'm like, well, you wanna put dams in, and, you know, it'll be 6 months to a year before we get his final report, so I'm not so
What's
sure.
this, I don't know, what's the Swan Hill thing you're talking
Oh,
Well, you got the
Swanton Hill.
diagram in there somewhere.
about? Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't tie it in.
Swanton Hill,
Yeah, it's like
which is
that.
down the road from Berry Road,
Okay.
is, if you've ever been on it, it's something.
You'd have to put that
Take a
on
ride.
You gotta
French
take it.
Hill, or you can go on the pond to and
Yeah.
across,
Yeah.
it's, you wouldn't know it's swamp, okay?
But it's a 20% grade,
Present.
and it's presently a 20% grade. Kevin's almost rolled the truck there.
Hey,
Fairfield was taking care of it for us for a while, and they backed up, and there was basically a sheer drop off at one point, I remember that. but they went back up and almost went right over the edge, about 15 feet down with their truck. It's just.
It's not a very good
bad
situation.
Can these roads be closed?
No.
Oh, there's people that definitely live on Swanton Hill.
Or do they like just close it up to a particular
Closed
place?
for through traffic.
Right, but it's closed even on, there's people that use that hill every day.
So they go
There's
over
three-
this
There's 3 houses.
20%
there,
increase, all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing that I never want to drive down in the winter.
I didn't even wanna drive down it during the summer, I mean, it
Well,
was, it
I
was,
think I took Christina up there, I think I was giving her an upset stomach. It's pretty rugged terrain.
We'll have to get instructions as to how to get up there.
But this has been an ongoing issue for years. You know, when I first got on the select board, the first place the road foreman ever took me insisted was Swan Hill, because I'd never been there in my life. Nothing's been done about it. You know, we have some ARPA funding left, and it's not gonna be enough to do this project, because he's projecting 600,000.
Oh,
But, you know, this is one of them things, either we're gonna get it done, or we're just gonna talk about it in, 2-3 years from now. We have an opportunity right now to set aside, we don't have a lot of ARPA money left, do we, 400 and something thousand? That's not accounted for, right?
Correct.
You know, we still have this thing to fix up the library. I wouldn't put it all, but I was thinking somewhere in at least maybe 300,000 to cut that 600 in
and
half.
there's 3 homes on there,
3.
3 homes.
Yeah.
What side of the hill?
Yeah.
The other side. Not the side.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
You don't know where ours headed.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there's a few on the Swanton Hill Road,
Yeah.
and you get to, there's 3 on the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
And I think the one is a summer only, but one of them there, and then where the road goes for private road up there, it looks like quite a house up there.
Yeah.
It's big.
I don't believe we'd get away with shutting the road down. I don't
No,
think so.
I think if we had to shut one down Berry Road, you might be able to get away with.
Yeah.
Nobody lives on the Berry Road in
That's,
Swanson.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So my suggestion is that we do allocate 300,000 of the remaining ARPA funds specifically for this project. And you've already got we're gonna get wetland stuff, and we're gonna have to get all that done first, and then, maybe even, depending on how, I don't know if it's possible to do next year or not, if we'd have everything in place, maybe. I'm kinda hoping, and if that's the case, but when we get to budget time, we can decide how we're gonna handle the rest.
Yeah.
And maybe we might wanna take a loan for 3 years,
3
just to,
that's what
just to not jump the tax rate so high all at once. But that's it, either that or we just forget about it, and, we'll spend the ARPA, because we can spend that money, no problem spending that money.
Well, let's look at the options that you just
Yeah.
suggested.
But if it's gonna be done that way, then the board is gonna have to approve setting aside that money. And, if we don't do it pretty soon, then most of that money's gonna be gone.
So you're just saying reserve it, Earl?
Yeah, that we're gonna allocate it for that purpose right now.
because funds need to be allocated by 2024, but they need to be spent by 2026.
Right.
So that means we'd have to have the solution to raise the other amount of money by 2026 and have it spent, correct?
Have it done right
Yeah.
I think, we should be able to meet that schedule.
No, yeah.
Depending on what the board wants to do, I mean,
now. Who's that? This was over here, right?
we could probably have it in next year's budget.
Yeah, if we, as long as we can get all the permits and everything we need, and, lined up and all that.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we set aside 300,000 of that ARPA money for the Swanton Hill Road.
Okay.
Or some other ideas, you can speak up, Nicole.
I thank you, Earl, I appreciate you.
I won't. What are you thinking?
I mean, there needs to be solutions, but that ARPA money is once in a lifetime money.
I know.
You know, before we allocate it away, I would really wanna I don't know that I'm comfortable allocating it away for this, not knowing if, if we'll be able to meet that timeline, if we'll be able to raise the funds otherwise. There may be something else that we decide that we might want that money for.
Well, that's true. There's plenty of places to use that, I understand that. And it is a board decision.
But if we reserve it, we can change that.
We could, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean-
We do have the authority to do that, yes, we do.
Because Nicole's right, I mean, there's
She
maybe
is.
other option, other priorities that
Yeah.
can play.
I agree with Nicole.
Yeah.
But the thing with this project right here, it's more or less a one-time thing. It isn't like we're buying a new truck with that money, because we're always gonna have to buy new
Well,
trucks.
preventing buying multiple trucks once we fix it.
That's possible, it's
That's
possible.
fair.
So, I mean, we got the opportunity.
Here's a picture of the road.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
For those of you
Or why can't we just come?
It doesn't really show the hill so
No.
much because it's out of the
No.
picture,
But
but
this is the road that goes all the way around it.
And the grade is steep, for sure.
Draw a line across the top, that's where we'll go.
It comes down.
Well, that's sort of- that's
goes
sort of what this is
all
doing,
the
is-
way down.
Yeah.
except they gotta cut the rock down to get the grade down.
Do we get to keep the rock?
Well, yeah, we
Well,
could haul it out,
we
yeah.
wanted to haul it out.
Kids will play.
We got the trucks, we could do it.
You never know when you need rock.
Yeah, we could build something else.
Rock pile.
Okay, now, we did have a motion, did it get seconded, Christina?
You know,
Alright. I don't know if you wanna still go with it, I mean, we don't have to do this tonight, but,
Mr. Chairman, I'll reset my motion.
you're taking it back?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got no motion on the floor. So we'll just leave it as it is for now, but we gotta keep this in mind.
I think we need to continue the conversation on it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
I just don't know that allocating that money right now is the right thing to do.
That's why we all work as a board.
I agree with that.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with it.
alright, community and economic development, do you want to discuss anything right now, or did you, I know you had a couple issues you wanted to talk about in executive
I
session?
think we should go into the executive session because it involves some local industries and things.
Okay. Alright, then we'll go on, any other necessary business, Brian?
Okay, trying to arrange a meeting with the, a joint meeting
Yes.
also with the village trustee.
Yes.
So, would, I believe they will be meeting the 26th,
That'll be next Monday?
next Monday. You want me to try to get you in on the 26th?
Possible, now,
What is this joint meeting for? Just our regular?
you call
You're
it.
the one.
You're the
Oh,
one.
okay, all right. I didn't know if there's another one. Let me tell you why, and
Yeah.
you might shut me down or whatever. I think we have a tremendous opportunity, and it all started with the rec committee coming forward with the building for the community and the rec center. And it's triggered a whole bunch of opportunities. I'm glad they came forward with that. But my thought is, should we be talking to the village trustees about reconfiguring the John Raleigh Fields? Maybe moving, and this came from a couple of our leading business people, I'm not smart enough to do this, but these, and I'll use the name if they allow me to. And maybe tie in some of the 4th Street property. One of the guys said, well, there's a, and I haven't been up there to watch this wiffle ball stuff, but our little kids used to bat it off the thing for years, but taking some of those fields, it's just an example, I mean, and moving it over to the 4th Street property. Maybe we buy the red building that's right on the first building as you go up Lake Street.
Yeah.
Maybe we get that palace or the trailer park over off Jewett Street and look at a whole master plan
Yeah.
and then incorporate into it, the rec center and the community center. You know, I think if, say we put the rec center and the community center over on the 4th Street property, we need a basketball gym. Well, there's one right across the street. And I know there's some headbutting there when it gets to using that, but that all can be worked out. There's parking, there's accessibility, the basketball courts there, that would cut down what we need for the rec center, and on, but I'm just talking out loud. I'd like to get the village to weigh in with us, to see if there's a great big master plan that we can talk about that incorporates both these parcels of land. The nice thing is they're connected by the rail trail.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's parking and there's everything that goes with it. So that's what I'd like to ask if they're interested in discussing with us.
Well, I think it's a good idea too, Steve, and, you know, I know the village is proposing a new police station and the fire station, so yeah, I think, you know, that could be figured in that master plan, and how that's gonna be handled too.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly gonna not just impact the village, it's gonna impact the town too.
And we're partners here
Yeah.
in the village, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
maybe they should weigh in, and they may have some really good ideas. Who owned, the ball field is owned by the village, though.
yeah,
The land, yes.
The land is owned by the village.
all the land, even the.
All the land.
All of it.
And I did check to see if we have a lease with the village under the land where the building is. And I'm not sure there's any formal agreement there.
Not that I've seen either.
So maybe this would be a good time to talk about that.
Yes, we need to, yeah, no matter what we end up doing,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to have
Yeah.
some kind of agreement, you're
And
right.
and they've never, I'm not sure they ever weighed in when we talked about putting the building down in the parking lot. I think they just talked about it, but I don't remember them saying, oh, sure, we'll give you a lease on the land.
Well, they did say that, they said they'd give us a.
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
There was some talk for
Yeah,
swap.
but it never really got done.
Right.
But I think if we wanna have the conversation with the village, then you need to definitely have the conversation with the village and the rec board. You know, bring all the players all
Sure,
at once
sure.
and have that conversation.
More the merrier.
Oh, yeah, we definitely need the rec board, I mean, that's,
Absolutely.
that's super, I mean, that's.
It's
probably
the rec board that
more
got this whole thing going. You know, thankfully they did. You know,
So,
Yeah, that discussion needs to really be had, because I don't wanna end up in the same damn situation as the freaking sidewalk afterwards, you know, all of a sudden we're ready for a freaking boat, or, you know, and people are saying, well, we don't want it down there, we want it somewhere, you know. We haven't had a tremendous amount of public input onto this, other than the fact, and I agree, on all the hearings, cause I was here, people do wanna see recreation opportunities expanded in Swanton, and they think that's a priority, and that's what they were telling us to do the ARPA money. And I agree with that part, but they didn't say it specifically to do something like that.
Well, at that same notion, then why doesn't the town hold its own public hearing, like, much like they did for the MVU sidewalk?
Well, maybe that's what we should be doing. But I would like to do in conjunction with the recreation committee, and they have to be open. You know, that, yes, we need this, everybody understands we need to do this, but, you know, what's gonna end up being the best for Swan? It may not be what I think, it may not be what they think.
Sure.
And, you know, it's gonna be a combination of things, the
Sure.
way it's gonna come down.
Yeah.
So let's get the village
Yeah.
input and see what, I've spoken to well over a dozen people. I'm a target every morning when I'm out on the street, which is fine. I've only gone into one person that said they didn't wanna see this concept go forward. Everybody else is in favor of it. They're in favor of the concept.
Yeah.
They're not in favor of the location. That's a universal thing. But they're all in favor of doing something, which I think is positive. You know, at least people saying, let's move forward. One guy, an elderly gentleman, said, I can't pay any more taxes. I just can't pay any more taxes. And now that the state of Vermont has hung us, our cost of living is gonna go way up.
Yeah.
So we gotta factor all that in. But I think universally, the concept is supported.
And I think it can be done affordably if we work hard enough at it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of options out there.
Now, do we have a set schedule where we try to meet quarterly with the village trustees?
No, we don't have anything organized, no.
Should we?
You know, it's not a bad idea. Some people might think quarterly's too much, maybe twice a year, but you know, it's not a bad, I think quarterly is a reasonable, just so that we keep in contact, because we may meet more than that, you never know, depending what's going on, but something on a schedule like that's not a bad idea, and we can bring that up at that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll check and see what it looks like then for the 26th of
Yeah.
the meeting.
26th of June,
Would that be a warrant meeting?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to order it.
Tomorrow then.
so that'd be a,
No, that would be a village warn meeting.
No, we have to.
No.
Oh, we have to warn it,
If
you
you're all
think that?
going, you
Oh,
have to
okay.
warn it.
All right.
Oh, we could have, we could put it out Thursday,
June, so June 26th is when they.
Monday.
Monday.
Monday the 26th.
And when's our first meeting in July, Kathy?
The 6th.
The 6th.
July 6th.
The 6th. So maybe one or the other.
Yeah, if they can't do it, they
Yeah.
can do it on the 6th of July.
Because we're meeting on Thursday.
Because
Because
of the
Tuesday's a
fall.
holiday,
No, they're
the
on
4th. The 4th.
July.
4th of July.
You just had a holiday Monday,
Oh, I don't think,
yesterday, now you got another one.
I don't think it's a holiday.
You just approved it.
I still go to work.
Okay.
So you'll let us know what day.
Yeah, if not,
Holiday, we're still open 40 hours.
6th of July.
Did you have anything else, Brian, on necessary business?
Let's see, I don't. No, that's it. That's all I had.
Well, then we can, public comments, but nobody's on. Nobody's here, so I don't think we're gonna get any public comments unless
There was one
you
person.
wanna make one.
No, I'm good.
Well, then we'll, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session then, so we can, discuss that.
I move that we find that we enter into an executive session for the select board to receive confidential contract and personal information.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to exit executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I don't believe there's anything else left to discuss at this meeting, except the upcoming events. Unless somebody else has anything they wanna bring up, because no action was taken during the executive session. Okay, upcoming events, Thursday, the 22nd, which is this week, DRB meeting, 6 PM at the town offices here. Then on Tuesday, July 4th, just to know, we're closed. And I hope everybody has a good holiday. And then on Thursday, the 6th, the select board meeting has been changed to that night because Tuesday is the 4th. And that will be at 6 PM here at the town offices and on Zoom. And then on Wednesday, the 12th, and this is July 12th, Planning Commission, I'll have their meeting here at 6:30 PM at the town office here. The other thing I'd like to just remind people of July 15th, the opening kickoff celebration for the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail. We're gonna have some distinguished guests here, Senator Sanders and Governor Scott. Kind of an odd pair, but we'll see what happens. But we're really excited about it, and I want to make sure the people of Swanton are aware that this event is going to be taking place. And I guess at this point in time, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move.
I'll second.
All right.
Take your choice, Christina. All right, the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries.
Good meeting, Mr. Chair. Good meeting.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, it was.